how did you like the U.S. tour with Band from Utopia?
I actually didn't do the U.S. tour with the Band from Utopia.
So who was
That was Mike Miller on guitar.
Mike Miller?
That's when I started. Wasn't able to do it because I started this job with Turner.
So you did only that?
I did just the two jobs, just the Stuttgart and Cologne. Unfortunately, I was not able to join the fellows with that one.
Okay, I think this is enough.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right, you're welcome. Ray, because I would like a similar range and a sort of a similar sound, and so I got used to. That's what we did with the Band from Utopia. We didn't with the Band from Utopia. We decided not to do songs that were real Frank oriented. You know,
that
like
Frank would sing.
Yeah, they were. You know, exactly. That Frank sang the lead on. That like we wouldn't have done. Like I am the slime, I have gross hair. Montana, something that I might be moving to Montana. So, something that was pure Frank vocal. But stuff that we could do like Ain't Got No Heart with vocal harmonies stacked the whole time, and then it sounded more or less the same because the main, because you got Ike's voice in there and the harmonies down.
By the way, did you tell the story about you singing falsetto in Frank's band?
Oh well, I don't know. I can't. I'm not a great singer, but one of the things I can hit a few falsetto notes. So I did some of those. But the real killer falsetto when I was in the band, I mean, make no mistake, was like on Tinseltown. It was Bob Harris. Oh, he's the one that does it. That's not me. I wish it was, but don't be confused. I did like the silly stuff, the stunt and the occasional high note, but. It was Bob Harris that did the really great shit like of my life, that real high vocal.
Yeah.
What are some of the great ones on there that he does? Yeah. But I did stunt vocals too. That I got a lot of credit for stunt vocals, which means like the falling off the cliff scream, that kind of shit. I would get that kind of stuff.
Like for effect.
Yeah, just the silly stuff, just the joke stuff.
Do you remember that concert in 1980, sometime in summer in Paris? Do you remember?
Yeah, it was, yeah. Is that the one?
Did you like it? Because when seen on TV,
that was one on television.
It is very tight.
Yeah, that was the one. I think that was the one. I think Pierre Boulez was at that concert. He was in the audience with that one. Yeah.
1980?
Yeah.
Tommy gets to try to impress him.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Pierre was. Yeah, that was great. I got to meet Pierre Boulez. Got to meet him backstage. He even told a joke. I even remember Pierre Boulez's joke. Sort of a silly joke. You want to hear Pierre Boulez's joke to Frank Zappa? It was. Let's see. I'll try to make it quick. There was a. Let's see. Wait, I have to think for a minute. Wait, stop the tape for a minute. Let me think. All right, there's a musician, he's out in the jungle, and this great big tiger comes along, and is about to attack him and eat him, but he pulls out his violin, he starts playing his violin, and he plays it, and the tiger, stops and sits down and just real quietly, sits there and just listens, and then he plays, and then he sees this big gorilla come at him, the big gorilla's about to attack him, and he starts playing for him, and the gorilla is hypnotized and stops and listens, and then this big old lion comes walking up, and he sees the lion, and he starts playing like crazy, and the lion just jumps on him, and just attacks him and kills him and eats him and tears him apart. And the tiger and the gorilla says, "Oh God, what'd you do that for?" And the lion says, "Huh?" Because Boulez was there in the audience because. I think it was. Let's see, a few months.
Was so rock oriented.
Well, let's see. Frank, I believe, some months prior to that, Frank had sent Boulez some of his orchestra scores. Frank was trying to get some of his orchestra music performed, and he had sent Boulez some of his orchestra music, and Boulez wrote back to him. I remember Frank came to rehearsal one day, and he came over, and he was all excited, and he says, "Look what I got! I got this letter back from Boulez." And Frank was all excited, like a little kid. And I said, "What does it say?" Well, he says, says, well, your orchestral compositions look very interesting, but I don't have it. They're very large orchestras, and I don't have any means to do that. However, if you were to be interested in writing some stuff for my chamber ensemble, I would be happy to conduct and record some of it, which they did eventually. That's when it became Perfect Stranger then, and that was the beginning of that. And so when we were in Paris, somehow Frank got in contact with him, and he came to our show, and I remember he was backstage hanging out, and he was nice as he could be. It was great.
Did he like the show?
I guess so. I don't remember seeing him afterwards exactly, but he stayed for most of it, I think.
It's a long show. It's over 2 hours.
Yeah.